Okay, so we should be good. Hello, everybody.
Yes, hello.
Welcome to our Ask Us Anything, but also,
We'll just be kind of rambling on a bit.
we'll discuss a few things. We'll announce the winners throughout from my Instagram giveaway, but we just wanted to do a year of 2023 kind of check-in as well, so we can let you guys know what we're doing this year. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. See Rune Shard, that's Tom, I believe. Hi Tom, welcome.
Oh, and let us know how we sound on your guys'.
Oh yeah, and let us know if we sound fine.
We did change our setup slightly.
Yeah. And there's Matthew Garcia. I was just about to say, we wanted to thank our first ever patron for our channel, which happens to actually be Matthew Garcia. So welcome.
Yes, and thank you
to the show, and thank you so much for your support in our Patreon, which you can actually find if anybody's interested. It's patreon.com, Carly and Jason, which you can find links in most of our descriptions. I'm pretty sure, or at the top of our YouTube page. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and get started on a topic? We'll announce one of the winners, and then we'll just kind of do that back and forth. And this is really an Ask Us Anything.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things planned to talk about.
Yeah.
I thought we'd talk about what happened last year / what our plans are, sort of going into next year. I like to keep some surprises.
Yes, you do. And I'm sorry if I'm looking down. I'm actually working on one of the prizes right now.
Yeah, and same for me, only I'm not working on a prize. I'm just looking at the lists that we have here.
Yes.
He
says you're a bit quiet.
Oh, I'm a bit quiet.
Let me see if... Oh. Are you unmuted? Did you unmute yourself?
I didn't unmute myself. Or I tapped it twice. It was one or the other.
I was trying to pick you up over here as opposed to over there. Okay. Hopefully he is good now. So thank you for letting us know that.
Yeah.
Matthew.
So
Yeah, volume is hard to hear for you both. Yeah, so your mic wasn't on. Dude. I think my mic is on. Here. Okay, if I turn mine off. Hello. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Is it?
I don't know. We changed our setup a little bit, and so a lot happened this year.
Yeah. Tom says it's good now, though.
Oh, good. Thank you, Tom. So I thought we'd go over kind of some of the stuff we've seen this year, some of the stuff that was, good, bad, some of the things that you worked on.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. And just kind of, talk about the year that was us and the year that is to come.
I'm very excited about the year to come as well.
You guys might not know, but...
Well, and hang on. So let's also say hi to Sandy is in the chat, and we got a cheerful voice in the chat. So hi, guys. Thanks for, just being here. Anyway.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I thought we'd start with movies. So you guys probably don't know, or maybe you do if you follow us.
If you listen to any other of our content.
We're big movie fans.
Yes.
And we go to the movies pretty frequently.
Very frequently.
I have a list of some of the movies that we've seen this year. To kind of go over just some brief thoughts about the ones that we've already covered or didn't feel worthy to cover, and there's
to cover.
some of the ones that we missed, especially towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
We got really busy. Yeah, we got really busy towards the end of the year.
Yes.
But some of these I had forgotten we had even seen this year. It was a busy year. I hope everybody else's 2022 went well. Ours went well. Lots of big changes in our family. Yep. But our year started, we went and we saw Death in the Nile.
Was that this year?
That was this year.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that crazy?
I can't believe that was this year. I thought it was 2 years ago.
And we saw Uncharted.
Oh, that was this year too.
Yeah.
Which, we love the games, the Uncharted games, and so we were very excited about the idea of an Uncharted movie. And, we like Tom Holland and stuff, so we were like, yeah, this is going to be great. And it was fine.
It was serviceable. It wasn't our favorite movie, but I I have kind of a saying that I'd much rather see adaptations than have nothing be done with it at all.
Yep.
So I'm glad we got it. I don't think necessarily Tom Holland was the right pick. I think they went a little too young. But it was a serviceable movie. Then we saw The Batman.
Oh yeah.
That was this year.
That was actually, I kind of liked that one though.
I liked it.
A bit different.
I liked it for what it was.
The usual.
I liked it for what it was. The sound design in that movie was phenomenal.
Yes. Yes. It
Along
was.
with costumes and acting, it was a pretty solid movie.
Yes.
Neither of us are, say, dark fantasy fans.
No,
like
we're
when
not grim dark.
yeah, when things get
that
too
kind of
dark,
stuff.
we don't necessarily get into it. But Batman was right on that edge for us. We're like, okay,
Well, because
I can do
Batman's
this.
supposed to be dark.
he
right?
is right. It fits the character, and we talk about how if it fits or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw possibly the worst movie of the year, Morbius.
Oh gosh.
So
we were just.
we
I brought this up to Jason. I was like, I actually think about this movie at least once a month
Yeah.
for two very specific things.
yeah.
Two very specific phrases. How he says "bat radar" instead of echolocation. that
Everyone
literally
knows what
everybody would know.
echolocation is. There was no need to make up bat radar.
Yes, so bat
is
radar
Stupid.
and Nobel Prize.
Oh yeah, the Nobel Prize. And out of the hundreds, if not thousands of people that worked on that movie, no one caught that they said Nobel wrong.
The person recording, or even just the lady saying it,
Yeah.
or the people she's talking to.
The director, the lighting people, the
the
ADR
the
people,
After Effects
yeah,
people.
no one.
Nobody.
And they're like, that might make us sound like idiots.
Yeah. We got Matthew in the chat. He's also saying he liked that the Batman was a detective. He was more of a detective. In
That's
this.
my favorite part of Batman comics, of
Yes.
Batman stories, of Batman animated things, is anytime he's a detective. I love that aspect of Batman.
Yes.
And so them playing more into this, that's probably honestly what sold me on the movie.
Because he's not just a billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Yeah.
He's smart.
Yeah, and admittedly, he wasn't necessarily the greatest detective.
Well, he was also just starting out
He was.
in this.
There were some flaws in that movie, but I will agree, leaning more into the detective aspect, I think is the right way to go. We've seen enough of the Dark Knight.
Yes.
Let's get more of Batman the Detective. I really liked it. I thought, what's the name of the actor? Robert Pattinson.
I was pleasantly surprised.
I know, you rolled your eyes so hard.
I did.
Yeah.
You probably could have seen the whites of my eyes all around when they said it was going to be Robert Pattinson. Because, unfortunately, the Twilight movies were just horrendous. And so you had him as the lead guy character.
Wasn't he also in Harry Potter?
Yes, so he's Cedric Diggory.
Oh, fine.
But, Cedric Diggory's only in there for, like, half of the movie. So I was just like, he doesn't look right. He's like a toothpick, but he bulked up.
Mm-hmm.
And once he had the costume on, I was like, oh, your face
He looked
actually
great.
works for
Yeah.
this too. Because there's kind of a certain thing of like,
I could do without the mopey, dropey, emo hair.
sure, the hair was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But thinking of like, especially so like Henry Cavill, he looks like Superman.
I know.
What you would consider
Breaking my heart even bringing that up.
typical, Superman. And so thinking of Robert Pattinson, I was like, you're not a Batman face. You just don't have a Batman face. But it actually worked. His jawline actually ended up working once he got the mask on. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and he actually acted the part really well.
It was a good movie.
It was a good.
It was
a good movie.
it was a very good movie. We enjoyed ourselves a lot. My complaints are very minor, but that's because I'm a major comic fan, and I think healthy critiques help the artist industry.
Yes.
So in general, really good movie, one of my favorites of the year, but still wasn't perfect. But nothing really is. Then we took our kids to see Sonic 2. We had a blast.
Yes.
Was it a
Sonic
great movie? No. Was it like an award winner? No. But our
was
kids
it a ton of fun?
our kids had a
Yes.
blast. The movie was ridiculous. It was great.
Was that
It was Jim Carrey. I like Jim Carrey, and
Jim Carrey's over the top.
he's perfect for Robotnik. Just
He really
perfect.
is. He brought something to Robotnik that hadn't been brought before, like his goofy Jim Carrey-ness.
Yeah. then we went and we saw Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, which I think. So I'm not as much a Potterhead as you are.
No, you're not.
But I think I enjoyed it a lot more than the general public. It was much better than the one that we got before this, the Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yes, so I actually agree with you there. The other thing too is this is actually an original story.
Yeah.
So none of this is like adaptations or anything that people really even know, which actually makes it a lot easier for me. Because I love the Harry Potter books, and the movies kind of suffered towards the last ones because I mean movies are rough, but I actually enjoyed this movie more than the previous. So I liked the first Fantastic Beasts because it was about the beasts.
Yeah.
The second one suddenly became about not the Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, it no longer became a Fantastic Beasts story. It was...
Which is why
it's quite forgettable. I couldn't even tell you what the story is. I didn't like that one. I didn't like it,
Yeah, number 2.
Not really at all. Yeah, the Crimes of Grindelwald, I was like, this is ridiculous.
Well, and then you notice, too, when they did their logo for the third movie, Fantastic Beasts was very small.
Mm-hmm.
Because it still wasn't about the beasts. We actually got more, though.
It was more of a return to form. Yeah, it focused more on the Fantastic Beasts. There was a lot more of that in it. They used them more.
Mm-hmm. Like, each one that came up, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think of, like, for my little pamphlet, I was like, do I know this creature? I was like, I probably know this creature.
Yeah.
So I came home and I would reference, because I have, like, the original pamphlet of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. And
yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
So, yeah, it was I enjoyed myself. I think I liked it more than the general public, but it was still not necessarily a fantastic movie. Which is unfortunate.
There's rumors of Harry Potter not necessarily reboot. I mean, I suppose it's a reboot.
I think they want to continue the story or something.
Or redo the books.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's not important to me.
Well, and rumors are just rumors. It's like until it's actually happening.
Until it's done. And I'm not a naysayer. I know there's don't remake anything, people, or that's too much of a perfect movie, or which I have those. I am all for remakes. Because if you can make it better or different, or and doesn't even necessarily need to be better. Mm-hmm. Like just to have a different take on something, I think is fun. It's like reading Dragonsteel Prime or Way of Kings Prime.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's not my story. My story is the official one, the Way of Kings.
Yes.
But
actually probably won't read Prime until the others are all done.
Yeah, but like it's still fun to get those for those who are hardcore fans and things like that.
Yes.
But I have no problem remaking things, and I do think there are certain movies that you can't remake.
Yeah.
My go-to for a movie that you can't remake is I think you can't remake The Princess Bride.
No.
I'd be all...
Part of the charm is because it's an old movie.
It is, but I think there's magic in that film.
Yes.
Just the actors together, the humor, all of it. And I'd be all for a remake. Go for it. Try. I just don't think it's possible. I think you will fail tremendously, but yeah. I would like to see people try. I think it's better to try. Well, you mentioned our kind of family slogan, which is... It's
never hurts to ask.
It never hurts to ask.
Hurts to try.
And it never hurts to try. So I'm all for people trying. We were very critical on one of the things we saw this year, which was the Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah. Gosh,
and
that was this year too?
That was this year.
Oh gosh.
So we were, or at least I'm pretty sure. I'm on movies right now. I haven't checked TV. But we were very critical of the Wheel of Time. It was not a great adaptation. Mm-mm. But I'm glad that we got it. And I know some of our viewers disagreed with us, but
I'd rather have it than not.
I'd rather have them try, because you learn from your failures. You're like, okay, this didn't work, that didn't work, so maybe
idiots on this part.
So maybe the next time we get it, it'll be great.
Yes.
So on to my perhaps first major disappointment.
Okay, we're still on movies though.
We're still on movies. We saw a lot of movies this year. We'll get to our first giveaway after movies. How about that?
Okay.
Doctor Strange. and the Multiverse of Madness.
That was that much of a disappointment for you?
It was. It was a big disappointment. Phase 4 hasn't been as strong as I'd wanted it to be, and I thought this was going to be their first opportunity to really kind of turn things around. Had a great title, had basically all the tools in the toolbox. They had the entire multiverse to work with, and the story wasn't even about the multiverse. They had the best story to run off of. They had Wanda, who made a great villain, and it wasn't even really about her. She kind of regressed as a character. And so it wasn't my favorite. I liked it. I didn't like it. I'm kind of.
There's some parts that I liked. Like, I liked exploring, a mother's grief and what that can do to a woman who can control reality.
And I agree, except for the fact that if you're running this off of the show, we already did that.
That's true.
And
she went from the show of potentially resolving her issues to suddenly
not. Yeah. But, I mean, there was the little tag at the end, which was, ooh, she's up to something. But she seemed to have gone away from her wicked ways. Like, I don't know. It didn't quite land for me. It was my first disappointment of the year.
Real quick, though, we got Tom saying he's excited about the experience Brandon will get from his involvement in the Wheel of Time show. Because he did say he's going to be much more involved in season 2. I've
been calling it since he did his Kickstarter. I said, this is it. If I was like, I know he's already having conversations in Hollywood, because Brandon's pretty open about this stuff.
Yep.
I know, though, he wants a lot of creative control, which is a hard thing to get in Hollywood.
Yes.
I said, but this is it. I said, if he doesn't already have a deal, this is what seals the deal.
Yes.
Because now people see, okay, you're not just a household name. You're a big name.
Yes.
You have pull. Because even if you think about how many people backed his Kickstarter?
I couldn't tell you. He's the second most backed and the first most funded on Kickstarter.
So, I don't know. Ballpark it for me.
I mean, I can look it up real quick.
So, I mean, I'm going to say, what if it was 30,000 people? Something like that. It's like 30,000 sounds like a lot. Was I close?
Secret Project, Brandon Sanderson, Kickstarter, had 185,000 backers.
Ooh, okay, that's a little better.
Yeah.
100. So at 185,000. Now think about the average movie ticket being about $10 a person, right? 185,000 backers still only puts you at $1.85 million for a $10 movie ticket, even though theaters take their cut and producers take their cut. Yeah, still, that doesn't put you anywhere close to the number that you need.
Correct.
So, I mean, from a financial point of view, I mean, Hollywood's looking as like, I don't know if you can generate the buzz. This goes to show that not only does he have a loyal backing, he can generate buzz. And that's the important thing, right?
New people. There was a lot of people who were like, I've never read Brandon's stuff
exactly
before, but you guys are all excited.
And the community is so positive and involved. So it wasn't that Brandon, because that wasn't Brandon's always been on the top charts of top selling fantasy authors, blah blah blah.
Yes.
That's not it. The amount of control that he wants, they're like, yeah, great, awesome. But are we going to see the return on our investment? Can your name generate that kind of buzz? And if I was a financial person in Hollywood, I'd probably be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The numbers don't add up.
Yeah.
But after the Kickstarter, it's like, okay, never mind. We'll take a chance on you.
Yeah.
And so I've been saying ever since the Kickstarter, said this is it. This is it. He went on all sorts of shows, CBS. We heard him on the radio randomly. And we don't even live in Utah. We live on the other side of the country. So yeah. Okay, next movie.
Well, Matthew had another comment about WandaVision real quick. He said that this one in the movie is not the Wanda from WandaVision. And that...
I agree.
I agree. So yeah, this could have been another multiverse of Wanda that was very similar to our verse.
It's not though.
Yeah.
It's they're playing it in the same verse.
Oh, I gotta fix that.
Oh yeah, it did. But I agree. They don't feel the same, and it was a major disappointment.
Yeah.
But followed by my major disappointment was possibly my favorite movie of the year, which was Top Gun Maverick.
Yes.
That movie was so good. It was so good.
So good. Like, it was constant on the edge of your seat without, like, actually having to sit on the edge of your seat. I was, like, tense almost the entire movie in a good way.
And you had never seen Top Gun. Did we watch it before or after?
So, no, we watched the first one before. I had
okay.
seen it, but it was when I was, like, 13. So it had been a very long time since I had seen it last.
See, and I grew up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 3 older sisters who are, or were obsessed with Tom Cruise. You know, he was the hot thing at that time.
I mean, he is a very attractive man.
Sure, whatever.
And he's a good actor.
But so I grew up with Top Gun. I grew up with all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so to watch this movie, it was a big nostalgia kick for me. And I remember coming out of the theater and there was an older lady taking her like 13-year-old daughter or whatever to see the movie. And she's like, wow, that was really good. And I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, that's right. That's right, it was. I was like, young crowd, believe.
It was a great follow-up without having to heavily lean. Like, it was its own story.
It was.
And yes, there was some stuff that they, like, reused. So he's got, like, the girlfriend and whatever. And
sure.
He's got to, like, teach and learn and stuff like that.
So if you follow Brandon's writing, he talks about promises and breaking promises and stuff like that. There's certain tropes you have to lean into.
Coffee Geek, is my mic better now? Let me know. Sorry, there was someone saying my microphone was quiet.
Oh. But, I mean, there's certain tropes you have to lean into. Mm-hmm. And I think they nailed it. It was probably my favorite movie of the year. So moving on while you sort stuff out.
Yeah. Part of it too, though, is my voice doesn't project as much. And so even though I'm speaking right into my microphone right now, it doesn't register as high as, like, when you speak into yours.
I just have that deep, sultry radio voice.
I don't understand why.
Well, you sort that out. I'm going to keep talking. Because I don't want people to wait too long. Another movie we both really enjoyed. Wasn't quite as good as we hoped. But we had, unfortunately, sky-high expectations. Because their trailers were awesome. Was Lightyear.
Oh. But, so I think I enjoyed that movie a lot more than you did.
I think you enjoyed it more than I did. I still really liked it. It was great.
You guys aren't hearing me on Jason's mic. I'm seeing that our microphones are registering different, but I don't know why mine... I think you just have a stronger voice, honey.
Why don't you just turn up your mic?
Well, let me...
This is what happens whenever you change your setup. Everything gets all messed up.
I know. Or, like, have updates and stuff like that. It drives me nuts.
But yes, you enjoyed Lightyear more than I did.
Already saying that they're catching up on 2 times speed, so they're listening to us right now at 2 times the speed.
Oh, well, thank you. But a movie I went and I actually saw a coworker at the theater during this movie, which was possibly the dumbest movie of the year. And I say that knowing that we already went to go see Morbius, which was terrible. But possibly the dumbest movie of the year was Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World, plot-wise, was a mess.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Now, my coworker that I saw at the theater, he's like, oh, I really liked it. I loved it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it was crazy, insane plot ridiculousness. And I was like, and I like a movie where you have to go and turn off your brain, that's what this was. That's fine. Morbius was bad for different reasons. Dialogue was bad. Mm-hmm. Basically everything was bad in Morbius. Jurassic World was only bad because of plot. It looked good, had good actors, etc. But like that, it was a mess. Another movie that kind of disappointed this year that we saw after Jurassic World, we saw Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah.
I liked it, didn't love it. I was super excited for Christian Bale. It didn't deliver. It was too goofy. I've liked the more serious Thor. I didn't want it to be too goofy. I like having elements of humor without having it be humorous. The goofier the Marvel movie, probably the less I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I like number 1. I'm excited for number 3 because it seems to be a little more serious. And that's not to say I don't like comedy. I do. It just has to be well placed.
Yeah.
And for me, Love and Thunder was not well placed. The story was okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were trying to jam pack too much into it.
Well, and let me know if my microphone is sounding a little bit better now. I've increased the gain a little bit, and so maybe that will help. So, like, I just really like Thor in general.
Yeah,
like,
Thor's great.
Chris Hemsworth also just brings a certain joy to the character that you're just kind of like, oh, this is so much fun to, like, watch you be Thor.
And Chris Hemsworth is great, too, yeah.
And I was so excited because, like you said, a lot of this has actually been Thor's arc. He's gone from having everything to having nothing to rebuilding back to having everything again. Okay, yeah, so they said it's a lot better. So, yeah, my gain must have just been down for some reason. I'm going to blame our kids who probably come in here and touch stuff without us knowing.
Well, and we changed a lot in our setup, and because we're still trying to make adjustments and improvements, and we have projects that we're going to talk about a little bit for the following year.
Yeah.
And so
we will try to improve every video unfortunately right now it probably won't be the best.
But
Next ones will be better
this time of the year
yeah.
we were very busy in making improvements.
Yes.
And
so like
for
right
all
now
of you,
I'm on a new camera than what I used to be before.
Yeah.
Right. So
and all of you know that once you change one thing,
it breaks the 10 other things.
Messes everything else up.
So I really like Thor. And for those who are just joining in as well, don't worry, we're going to be getting into who's won the giveaways as well after we're done chatting about what we saw in movies and TV shows.
But we appreciate you guys stopping in and chatting with us.
Yeah, if you want to drop a like maybe or subscribe to
or
our channel, we
any questions.
that.
This is an AMA. We're just chatting because I come prepared with topics.
Yes. So do ask us anything.
So yeah, this is more or less your guys' time, but I'm chatty. So if you want to fill in a question, that's on you.
So I was really excited for Thor and to see what he was going to do as, with the Guardians. And then obviously he wasn't with the Guardians like at all. He kind of goes back home and has to fix something and goes away from home and has to fix something. And then I'm not a huge fan of just Jane.
So
I liked the idea
I actually liked her
powers and how that happened and everything. I just don't care for Jane the character and maybe even the actress.
I liked her more in this movie than I did in other movies.
By the way, my backdrop wins.
What is my backdrop?
Because we're still working on yours.
Yeah, we're changing stuff and I haven't gotten to this yet. There's actually a ton of stuff on the floor.
Yeah, there's some displays in the corner, but his is angled more towards his bookshelf. So
we're getting to it.
We're getting to it.
But that's okay. You're supposed to win.
Yes.
We'll get to the next one. So the next movie, Black Adam. I liked it. I thought it was a solid movie.
I thought it was fun.
My favorite part was when Henry Cavill came in. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. It's breaking my heart that he's not going to be Superman anymore.
Well, and it was just a better DC movie than we usually have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it felt like a good step up for them. But
it felt more typical DC's because you had Batman earlier this year, which again felt forever ago. But this felt a little more typical, and so it was. I don't know. I'm in a good place with DC right now.
Yes.
Even though they're redoing the whole thing.
The Rock is always fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so it was. Some of the humor they put in there was good. Some of it wasn't. Some of the characters they put in there, like I actually really loved how they did. What was her name? The Tornado Girl. Her powers were tons of fun. It was so colorful.
Was she the Green Tornado? I can't remember what her name is.
Tornado.
I can't remember.
Becca says she doesn't like Superman in general
because I'm hurt.
because she is Batgirl. So this is why she doesn't like Superman. It's in the Discords.
Okay, well I'm not a part of the Discord, so I don't get it.
And are we going to get into books later on, because we do have a book question in here.
Well, just fire off the questions as they come in.
Okay, so
because this is their time, not ours.
From Jacob, he says, or they said, I don't want to derail the conversation, but when you get to questions, what are your thoughts on Mistborn Era 2 versus Era 1? And Ari's being like, oh man, I suddenly slowed down because they caught up, and they're like, you guys sound so slow.
Now we're slow.
So, what are our thoughts on Mistborn Era 2 versus Era 1? I talked about it a little bit.
Let's actually we'll get into that in a minute, because that is a little bit of a bigger question.
Okay.
And we're almost done with movies, and I want to do our first giveaway.
Okay. So yeah, so we'll get to that after we announce our.
So yes,
first winner.
I'm
okay.
sorry, I did say we'll get to your question, but as you can tell, I talk a lot, and that one will take us a little time to answer.
Yes.
Probably. Watch it be like a 2-sentence answer.
I mean, I gave some of my thoughts on it when I had my interview with Stephen Pond, who does Raffo. If you guys want to go check that out as well, his channel. Yeah. I had an interview with him.
He seems like a great guy, super nice.
Yeah. But we'll get to that answer in just a moment then. Cyclone. Thank you,
Cyclone.
Tom.
Okay.
That's
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I could have looked it up, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. Last 2 movies that we saw this year, or at least according to the list.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's other ones that we saw on like Netflix and whatnot, but the major movies, major blockbusters we saw this year, which if you guys have seen any great movies this last year that we didn't mention here, maybe we saw them, maybe you have a question whether we liked it or not, we can give you a yes or no, or
we always appreciate suggestions of things to watch.
Yeah, so just go ahead and leave that down in the chat. Mm-hmm. The other 2 that we saw are bigger blockbusters as well. We saw Black Panther, which we did a full video on.
We did, yes.
My general thoughts, if you guys didn't see it, is
no, we didn't. We did a Black Adam. We actually didn't do Black Panther.
Oh, did we skip Black Panther?
We skipped Black Panther and we skipped Avatar.
We intended to. November and December have been crazy for us.
Oh, indeed.
It's been wildly busy, and every time we're like, we need to do a video, we were like passed out on the couch.
Yes.
We were very, very busy.
Yes. Or we talked about it too much in the car and realized we couldn't do a video anymore.
That's never the case. We have no problem repeating ourselves. But Black Panther was good. Again, not great. It had some major problems, which was super disappointing for me, because Black Panther, the first one, is one of my favorite Marvel movies, just in general. I loved the Talocan stuff.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was amazing.
Yes.
Major weakness of the movie to me was actually Shuri, and unfortunately she was the major character.
Which is unfortunate, because I adore Shuri.
And I like Shuri as well.
I love her so much. And I love the idea of her not just being the princess, but she's brilliant, and she can actually do stuff. She's not just smart, she can make it. Like, that first moment where she's trying to make the artificial herb, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, I thought it started strong, ended weak. I like the movie. I don't love it. Marvel, for me, really kind of let me down this year. A little bit, yeah. Well, like I said to you, though, before, I think it's probably because they were trying to go back to individual stories, which I don't think was a bad idea. I think it was executed poorly, though. Because you have to kind of get back to, okay, where's everybody at before you introduce the new bad guy? So I don't think it was the problem with individual stories. I don't think that's the problem. But I do think it was an execution problem. Mm-hmm. I've heard elsewhere, maybe you guys have as well, Kevin Feige has a lot on his plate. And I think this year it showed. He has too much on his plate. It's a lot. He is the special sauce that makes it work. Mm-hmm. And he has too much on his plate. Because I think every movie came close to being really good, but had some major flaws. It's like, why that? Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. We have a few comments. So we've got apparently a blood feud starting in the chat. Uh-oh. Becca has blood feuds with everybody, apparently. Oh, that's fine. Sandy says Everything Everywhere All at Once was their favorite this year. I've heard that's really good. I've heard it's really good. Unfortunately, I know it's not a genre that I'm going to like. And I'm pretty sure it's rated R. That may be the case. Certain things. I don't know, but we haven't seen it, but I've heard it's really good. Yes. Tom saying Spirited. Saw that. Loved it. Spirited, yeah. We just
It was
watched
great. I've been listening to the soundtrack
We
still.
just watched it a few days ago.
It was so good.
And then
Love
Becca's
Spirited.
saying that her favorite movie was watching Dan Wells talk about Crazy Rich Asians for like 4 hours. So
That's a good answer.
yes,
Crazy Rich Asians is a good movie though.
That
too.
is a fun movie.
I really
though.
like that
Like I
movie.
didn't think I would like that movie as much as I did.
I thought it was going to be something completely different than what it was, and there's a lot of actors in that movie I like.
Yes, actually.
And they keep popping up and stuff. I'm like, yes,
Yes.
you. I was like,
Yes.
where have I seen you before?
Yes.
Oh, Crazy Rich Asians. I love it. Yeah.
Jacob saying the increase in Marvel content with all the shows has really affected the quality in their opinion, and we agree.
Yeah, that's basically what I
think
said.
They
yeah.
have so many stories that they want to tell that unfortunately they're just saying do them all without really picking and choosing.
Yeah. Which
there's-
again, I don't think is a problem per
Well,
se,
it's too
right?
much of a good thing at once.
But, and no offense, Brandon. Brandon is the special sauce that makes his books work. I am fearful of him handing off books to other people.
Yeah.
I
so-
understand it. I get it. You know, he's trying to branch out and bring other people into the fold. And yes,
And I can
he's not going to
understand
have them do
letting
major
somebody-
projects.
Yeah, I can understand letting somebody who's good with dark stuff write a follow-up to Shadows for Silence in the Forest of Hell. I understand that completely.
I do too. And I get that he's also going to oversee it, right?
Yes.
But
As a
again,
fan,
Kevin Feige oversees everything
yeah.
that goes through those doors. But Brandon puts out a lot of stuff.
I know,
So does
yeah.
Marvel. I think the comparison is fair to
I feel
say
like it's a justified fear.
I am afraid.
Concern.
However, there was one saving grace in my opinion. Brandon is a storyteller.
Yes.
Kevin, maybe a little bit, maybe not so much. I don't know. He's got other job responsibilities, being an executive producer, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I think Brandon might be able to do it, but I would be lying if I didn't say I was very fearful.
Yeah. So Ari says they agree with you, especially with how different Dan's style and narrative choices are. And
Yeah, because
yeah,
I think Dan's funny on the podcast. I like listening to him.
I actually haven't read it.
I'm not a Dan fan.
No. And maybe it's unfair to say I'm not a fan if I haven't even tried. But I also
I've
just
looked
know I
at-
don't like dark books.
I've looked at some of his stuff.
Like Shadows for Silence was actually a lot of fun, but it was dark, but it wasn't too dark for me.
Yeah.
Like that's about where I can end.
But I've looked at some of Dan's stuff, and I'm just, I
Yeah.
mean, immediately I'm just like, it's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah. Well, and so like some of you guys know I was working on helping the Black Piper with their Black Prism campaign, and that's based on the Lightbringer books and stuff like that. And it's not books I'm ever going to read. Having read what some people's concerns are about it, of like the darkness and the gore and the whatever, I'm like, this is just not something I want to consume or even think about.
Which is fair on multiple levels. One, everybody has different tastes. But two, art is subjective. We're not meant to like everything.
No, we're not.
And so it's not necessarily meant for you, meant for me, whatever. But
Jacob's agreeing too, by the way.
but you know, for Brandon's stuff, in general, I like everything that Brandon puts out.
In general, yeah.
In general.
There's some things,
things I like
read.
I like more.
I haven't read any of the Reckoners or the Alcatraz stuff, and I haven't actually read Rhythmatist either, but I plan to.
Well,
but the
and so
things that I
yeah.
have read, I
His
just
younger
love.
grade stuff isn't necessarily for me.
Yeah.
But also I'll say, you know, if I had to rank his books, Elantris isn't one of my favorites. I think it's good.
I enjoy it for
But
the
it's not one of my
potential
favorites.
It has as well. It like I would
It's the
love for
potential.
him to be able to rewrite it. And I was saying this to Steven as well, was like if and delve more into the politics of what was happening, the relationship of this country and that country and all of it. Like
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. Ari saying what worries the most is how many of his, I'm assuming Dan's, reactions and opinions on the podcast about shows and movies are so counter to Ari's.
Right, and that's important, right?
Becca's
So
saying she doesn't like Reckoners.
so I tried, and it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But neither was his Legion's books. I did get through at least a couple of those, and after I think I got halfway through the second one, I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
So I agree. His younger stuff isn't necessarily for me. But like I've got different critics that I listen to. Some I agree with, some I don't, because that way I know when they all agree, I'm like, oh, this might be something I'm gonna like.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. Dan has given opinions. I'm like, no, Dan, just no.
Like I can't agree with that. Jacob saying that Elantris was such an amazing concept, even if his writing was still unpolished at the time, because it was one of his very early novels.
I think it was his first.
It was one of his. It was
his first picked up published ones.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Last movie. And then we'll do a giveaway.
Last movie. I know this one. Avatar.
Yes.
The Way of Water.
It was Avatar and the Way of Water. We've been wanting to talk about it.
Yes.
We have.
Yes.
We've been very busy. And we won't do a full breakdown here or anything.
Well, we're already 42 minutes in.
Oh wow, we're 42 minutes in. Sweet.
So we gotta.
We'll speed this along.
Yeah, speed this along.
But it was for me really good. Mm-hmm. I hate 3D.
Oh my gosh.
It ruined it for me. So where we went, it seemed like the only options we had if you want to do like a nice theater. So we did like an AMC Dolby
Vision
Prime or something like that.
Just Dolby Vision.
And they make you watch it in 3D. I hate 3D.
Yes.
It ruined it. It's distracting.
The glasses add an extra frame that I don't want, and then things are shooting everywhere, and it's blurry in motion.
And well, it also tints it like now the coloring isn't accurate.
Yeah, so
these movies are painstakingly colored.
They're beautiful.
So that they're supposed to look gorgeous on the screen. Mm-hmm. But when you put these dumb glasses on, it ruins the coloring. Because there's a couple of spots where it's not all in 3D. Mm-hmm. And I would pop up the glasses. I'm like, I want to watch that movie.
Yes.
And so...
I know it's going to come to Disney Plus, but we're going to buy it, by the way, because I love these
and
movies.
We've been phasing out most of our physical media.
We're down to only like a shelf of DVDs.
Only keeping stuff that we truly were like, I love this.
So we got like Chuck and Avatar and Korra. And the first movie I ever bought for myself on DVD was Avatar. Yeah. So we have that. There's a few other things down there.
And I really liked it. Avatar, The Way of Water. Very predictable, but it was a lot of fun. It wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. There were some things I'm just like, why this?
Yeah.
I can't remember what they were. I think it had to do with one of the characters.
So Jacob, you don't necessarily have to watch it in 3D, but when we went to watch it in Dolby, it was that it was in 3D. So you could go to like a regular 2D option, I'm pretty sure.
Which we could have done.
But
those theaters are so nice.
I love Dolby Vision.
I know.
I love Dolby Vision so much.
They're so good.
Okay.
So
yes, it was a bit of a bladder buster.
Yeah, it was a I got up once or twice.
Held it.
She held it. It was impressive. And we had like a giant soda and popcorn because it was a birthday movie.
For my birthday.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for at least sticking around for the movie portion. Hope that was enjoyable. We'll do our first giveaway here, and we'll do another one in just a few. Our next section won't be as long.
So I'll give you guys a second to pick. Should we? Because I've already gone through and I've pulled out the winners and stuff.
Yeah. Because being here wasn't a requirement, but we hoped that all of you would stop by.
Do you guys want me to announce who won the card display, bookends, coins, or leather bounds first? What would you guys like to hear first? I have most of them up here to show you that they exist. We've got like the bookends up here and stuff. So you guys tell me what you want me to announce first, and we'll go from there. It may take a second because we're about 30 seconds ahead of how. And
that's fine. So I'll pull up our next topic that we'll talk about.
Yeah. Ari said that Blu-ray is a level of quality that no streaming or digital format will truly compare to.
It is true, and our Blu-ray player right now is our Xbox, but we mostly
or our PS5 even,
or even our PS5, but we mostly watch stuff through streaming because I'm not necessarily a rewatcher. Mm-hmm. But if it's a movie I love, like one movie we need to get that we don't own yet is Dune.
Oh gosh, yes.
Dune was so good, and I'm excited for number 2.
So we got a little bit of an argument going on over here, which is kind of funny.
Oh, sorry about that.
We've got Becca saying the swirlies, Sandy also voting for the bookends. Rune just saying roll a d4. Devin saying let chance decide.
You have a d4. You could roll a d4.
I do. So Devin says let chance decide. Ari says let Devin decide.
Oh. Well, conflicting reports.
Yes. So let me pull up the giveaway real quick so I can make sure I have that list as well. I'm assuming everybody here knows what I'm talking about, but just in case anybody comes in later, I ran a giveaway as a thank you to everybody who has supported me in the last 2.5 years on my coin display, which you can see right up there, hanging on the wall.
Yes, thank you so much. She's worked very hard on these.
Are so amazing. Like, thank you so much. This obviously would not have been possible without you guys being willing to support this. It has been tons of fun, and you guys have just been super nice as well, like understanding of everything, even giving me some really great ideas. Making sure, because I think I actually wrote one of these down wrong. I'm trying to find it. Sorry. This may take me a couple seconds. Well, a lot of you guys entered. Okay. So, we're going to announce the swirly winners then. Yeah. So that, I did write that number down wrong. I had the wrong number off by just like one number, but that's okay. Okay, you guys ready for this? So, we're doing the swirlies first because that's what y'all said, or at least 2 of you said, and Devin didn't answer.
And so, she has them behind her, so she's going to pull these here.
Yes. So
these are the ones that you'll be getting.
So there is the set of, there we go, so you guys can actually hear me. The black and white set, I think you guys can, let me pull this up right here, there we go. So there's your black and white set, and as you guys have seen on my website, but you will also get exclusive, never gonna make this color style again. You actually get 2 sets of bookends that are walnut and Duro cherry, so this kind of cool red and brown. I need to do some minor fixes on it, so don't worry, this is not the official ones that are getting sent to you. And the winner is, can I have a drum roll please? Order number 1675, which was Becca.
I've heard the name, so I'm assuming you know who that is.
Yes,
I don't
actually,
know
it's
who that
because
is.
she's here in chat with us.
Oh, well, congratulations, Becca.
Yes.
And thank you for supporting my wife in her endeavors.
Yeah.
I hope you like them.
Yes. So I will be sending you a message on Instagram to make sure we have all of your orders in, or all of your address correct, and make sure it's getting to the right place and all of that. Yeah, so congratulations, Becca. Yay, Batgirl.
Yay.
Okay. We'll do another small topic.
Yeah, we'll make this one shorter, partly because this one's harder to remember.
Yes.
And I don't have a full list anywhere that I can find. But I thought we'd talk about TV shows. So
yes, TV shows.
One of the things we planned on doing a video for, but again, we got very busy, was a TV show. But so I thought we'd just talk about TV shows in general that we saw this year that were really good. And some of these might have not been this year because I can't remember. This year was crazy. Because again, I thought Batman was 2 years ago.
Content that came out this year.
There was,
surprisingly.
and I think it was the floodgates opened after the whole COVID thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anybody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, and you know what else I should do too? I should actually launch these on my site now because I said I was going to launch them.
Oh yeah, you can do that. So for anybody who wants to get one.
Yeah, if anybody wants to get one, and it'll be the black and white set. So the set that I've been using myself like a ton is, and you guys have seen pictures of. So I'm actually going to
and they're great.
Those.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, they're really cool. So they have this, anti-skid kind of foam. It's not like super anti-skid, but it's kind of like what's like on the bottom of our microphones and stuff. Keep them in place, and it kind of keeps your books, a little bit safer. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and launch those now. It's not batch orders. It'll just be, order it as you need one. Okay, go ahead, honey.
Okay. So some of the things we saw this year, and we'll stop on some of them as they come along. Things that I really enjoyed: Sandman. Sandman on Netflix, I really enjoyed.
That was, I like that more than I thought I would.
It's a little dark.
It's, a little.
Well,
sure.
a little in the vein of it's borderline. I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. Well, and there's some parts that we kind of skimmed through.
Or just closed our eyes. I'm not into serial killers or mass murderings or eye violence and things like that. I just that stuff appeals zero to me. So the what was that dream or nightmare that was on Rampage? You remember what his name was? Oh, Corinthian. Which great name.
Actually, yeah.
I love
it was kind of
I love Neil Gaiman. Yeah. He's so creative.
That's a good name.
I liked Sandman a lot. And as I'm watching it, I was actually getting like kind of Brandon vibes where I'm like, maybe this will help Brandon get some stuff done. But I really liked Sandman. I liked it a lot because they took a lot of hard concept stuff to visualize.
Yeah.
And they did a really great adaptation. It was awesome.
Well, it's all very abstract. I mean,
yeah.
It's death and dream.
That's the way
desire,
that the comic is.
No, I know. I'm just saying though, like, that's all very abstract anyway.
But it had a great following, and if you think about it, it gets Brandon vibes, right? You have devotion and dominion and
stuff going on,
and autonomy. So I was like, okay, if people like this, they could totally get on board with like a Way of Kings. And so I really liked Sandman. That was fun this year. We talked at length ad nauseum of Rings of Power. We have videos on that. I think I like it more than the general public does. I understand its weaknesses, but it's one of those things I'm glad that we have.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they tried. I really hope they clean up their act in season 2 because much like Jurassic World, it is a mess. Just an absolute mess. It is not my favorite by far, but I still liked it. It was good.
So there's also one person in the Collectors Discord. I feel like it's either Sarah or Susan, or if one of you guys in the chat knows who I'm talking about, who has collected like every issue of Sandman. And so I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yours is probably worth like a lot of money now because it wasn't the greatest TV show. And I know there were some people who were like, diehard fans who were like, it's not a good adaptation. It's like, I thought it was actually pretty great for like somebody who hasn't.
For those who don't, who haven't read it and just followed along, which is the beautiful thing about adaptations or even remakes, is it brings in new audiences.
Yeah, so Becca says it's Susie, so Susan.
But I haven't read it. I knew of it because I'm a big comic fan.
Yeah.
And technically it's owned by DC and Sandman pops up in other properties and whatnot. But so I knew of it, but I've never read it. I've seen panels here and there. The art style isn't necessarily for me, but the show is something I'm like, I could do this. This is cool.
There's a lot of visually really cool stuff too. Like his castle or whatever, I was like, that is so cool because it's like endless into the sky and then like the lake
that's what they are. They're the endless.
I know. It was
great naming.
Yeah. So what next?
A disappointment was the Dragon Prince. Oh, I love the Dragon Prince. Season 4 was not what it should have been.
It was not it. And I know we talked about this, so we actually did a full breakdown.
Yep, we
talk
did.
about it. So if you guys want to check out that video, you can. But I'm just going to say one thing that I said in there was that it went from a child-friendly to a child-ish show.
Which are very different.
Which is a very different thing. Yes, the first 3 seasons are more of a kid's show, and I understand that, but it was still a lot of fun for me as an adult. I love shows like Dragon Prince and She-Ra and Voltron. Like, those are so much fun.
Right.
But this was child-ish. There was, like, toot humor all over the place. There was just, like, weird,
It broke my heart.
It broke my heart, too.
I'll still watch it.
So excited.
Because I still love Dragon Prince.
Oh, I'll watch the rest of it, yes.
But it definitely knocked it down a few pegs like, went from one of my favorite shows of all time to, we'll have to see how this ends.
Yep.
Way better than I thought it was going to be. Andor.
Oh yeah.
Did we talk about that one? We've done so much this year.
We've done, yes. So we have an Andor video as well where we've talked about it.
It must have been a whole show or something.
We did, because we didn't do episode by episode.
Awesome. Just
good.
Awesome.
That was,
even if you're not a Star Wars fan, awesome.
That was how to do a suspenseful show with a mystery, with a kind of heisty thing going on.
Related to Star Wars, but not necessarily Star Wars.
It didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't even Star Wars, it's still an amazing show.
I think Obi-Wan was this year. That was a disappointment.
Oh, yeah. Which is a shame, because I love him.
I love Obi-Wan, and that was another broke my heart sort of thing. Just why are we doing this? Again, I'm glad that we have Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that we have that show. It just... they failed in the execution, in my opinion.
Like, you know this, like, Kenobi is, like, my favorite Star Wars character ever. Out of anybody, anything, he is the best. And because, like, I mean, we got to know him more from the TV show, the Clone Wars TV show, and his relationship with Anakin and all of that. Like, it was just, I grew to love this character. And I actually, there are some points in the Kenobi TV show that I enjoyed quite a bit. So, like, the monotony, you could just feel the monotony of his day-to-day life, of him in hiding. I was like, I think it started really strong. Right now.
I think it started really strong, and they had a concept for an ending. It just failed in the middle. Like, I can see, because it was originally said to have been a movie. I can see where it was probably a movie, and then they just jam-packed a whole bunch of stuff into it that just didn't work.
So... how it should have ended, she did mark a good point.
Brilliant.
They're like, I dragged you through fire and you're not even burned.
I love
he.
I was
like, right though?
I love it. I was expecting him to be burned, but he wasn't.
Yeah, Rune saying he also enjoyed Andor. That's just a solid show. Like, so good. I loved the politics. I loved the fighting. I loved the intrigue. There's just so much good stuff in Andor.
So, some rapid fire here. The Santa Clauses.
Fun.
What in the world happened?
Kind of cute, but also a little bit weird because it just ended.
It just randomly ended. We're like,
the problem was solved in 30 minutes.
Guess the show is over.
Yeah. I enjoyed meeting all the previous clauses.
That was the one cool thing, and I like the little joke that they were doing. It's the Santaverse. It's the the Clausa whatever. And and so that was the one fun thing out of the however many episodes it was. Quite honestly, it was pretty stupid. And writing, they need to take some Brandon writing classes. That's all I got to say. Because they brought up stuff they never addressed. There was the whole Mrs. Claus thing. She went on for episodes about why aren't there any Mrs. Clauses? Why don't we address the Mrs. Claus?
To end because she was the very first one.
Why doesn't Mrs. Claus have a name?
Yeah.
And I get it. The explanation is simple. She was the first, but they didn't address it.
Yeah.
Don't bring it up if you're not going to address it.
They talked about it for a grand total of 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
Moved on.
Things that we are currently watching but started last year that mostly because we're fantasy fans or fans of the property. So watching Willow, I don't know what's going on. It has
kind of become a guilty pleasure show for me.
It is
like
one of those
100.
It's so bad I have to watch it shows.
Like the 100, right? I love the 100.
So, but Willow's
much the same now.
You've never seen Willow the movie.
I have not seen the movie.
That's one of the things I also grew up on. You don't need to see it. It was also really kind of weird in the show kind of way, but not quite this weird, and not quite as just insane as this show has gone.
I've managed to get one good song out of it, though. There's a song now on my playlist that I've gotten from the show that I was kind of like, I kind of like this song.
That's true.
But, like, also it's really weird that this was even a song in the TV show.
And I find it funny, just from episode 1, we're like, okay, random fantasy drop.
Yeah.
Because they're like, and we're going to go across the Crystal Sands to get to the Miriam Palace to defeat the
crone in the immemorial city. And we're like, oh, okay.
We don't know what any of that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was even walking away at that point to go, like, put a new cut onto the machine or something. I was like, well, that was a lot of fantasy in one sentence.
Yeah, it was stupid. Another disappointment is I really like the National Treasure movies.
Yes.
So we picked up the show. I can't stand teenage angst.
This last episode was good.
Those teenage angst shows are just terrible. I am not a 100 fan. Yeah, I am not. I don't do those kind of shows. I can't. It doesn't. It burdens my soul. I just can't. But this has a lot of that in it. I'm very disappointed. The last episode was pretty good. But
because it was more about puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, and they also kind of teased a little bit a third movie, which I pointed out. You're like, what's that? I was like, they mentioned at the end of the second movie. Because I like the first two movies. This show has just not been great. I'm a little disappointed by Disney Plus. All right, two more, and then we'll do another giveaway.
Okay.
We'll do the short one first, and then the long one.
Okay. And guys, decide on if it's the card display, the coins, or the leather bounds revealed next.
Yeah. So one thing that we watched this year, I was waiting for all of it to catch up, was we watched the most recent season of Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War.
Yes.
So we both grew up anime fans.
Yeah.
And I grew up. I was not a closet. I was full on anime fan. But I grew up. I discovered a lot of this anime long before it became popular. I was, bootlegging stuff off of wherever because, well, it was the only way to get it in America at certain points. Anyway, I read the manga for 1,000-Year Blood War. I loved it. It's a great arc. I love how they have done this season. It is so good. It's beautiful.
Yes.
They're true to the material.
They've added so much color this time too.
And color in ways that, like, when I'm reading this in black and white, I didn't know it was that color.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah. And so it's been a while since I read the arc, but I remember a decent amount of the stuff that happens, at least the major, like, important things, like who dies and who doesn't. Really the only important things in an anime, right?
Sure. Generally.
But this has just been so much fun because they've added so much more movement.
Which a lot of anime suffers from. They're just stagnant. They will stand there in the same position and their mouth will be like...
Yeah. And so there's been a lot more movement. There's still times where they're doing that.
There is. On high quality anime, there will be good stuff. We have fallen away from a lot of anime because it's just not up to the standards that we hold our entertainment to. The standards
that My Little Pony has now set for me. If you have watched My Little Pony, there is constant movement. They're twitching their ear or their foreleg or their tail, or the person's walking behind them, or they're squinting, or they're making weird face. Like, it is constant movement, and it just makes it feel more alive.
There's something that was a disappointment this year was the Gen 5 My Little Pony series.
Yes, the Gen 5 series.
The movie. So I am a casual My Little Pony fan. I have watched, probably not even all of it, but most of the
because
past
I'll have it
gen.
on, or the girls have it on.
Yeah, you or the kids have it on. And
so you watch the movies with us.
And I'm a casual fan. I watched the movie, the Gen 5 movie. The movie is awesome.
It's great.
I was laughing my butt off.
It tells a good hero's quest, and it's got.
And that's.
What do you need?
And I enjoyed it so much.
Okay, can I finish talking? Please,
that I was actually excited for Gen 5 of My Little Pony. It is awful. It is garbage. It is absolutely terrible. I don't know how they went from how good that movie was to how bad that show is.
Okay, so Cassie's watched all of it, so I've seen some of it in the background as I'm like running cuts or working on stuff. And so Cassie, who actually just walked in, by the way.
Dog out.
Oh, the dog snuck in, I guess.
Yeah, she's got trapped.
So there's actually a good idea in it, but again, it's the execution. It's not being executed well. It has become a childish kind of show,
but in a really bad way.
The animation is suffered.
It's just bad.
It's pretty bad, and it makes me sad because I love My Little Pony, like, a lot.
And I don't love it, but I was actually excited for it to the point where I was blown away at how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I'm usually pretty forgiving if you can't tell about how I rate these shows. Okay, last one, and then we'll do the giveaway.
Okay.
We we're also waiting for this one because the first 2 seasons were phenomenal, was His Dark Materials.
Yes.
First 2 seasons were phenomenal, and we both really enjoyed them.
Read all the books.
And I have not.
And season 1 and season 2 were done, in my opinion, as perfect as it could have been for a book to TV show adaptation.
And I still had questions.
Yeah, but they answered it a lot better than Wheel of Time did.
Oh, sure. if that's your comparison, yeah. And then season 3, in general, was good. We enjoyed it.
It's severely deviated from book 3. And actually, a lot of it wasn't it's not the deviations that were upsetting. It just didn't work for me.
So, I'll be honest, cut out the last episode, and it makes it 15%, if not 25% better.
Yeah.
That last episode throws my least favorite thing, teenage angst, into the show, which I get is a part of it. But it's something they didn't address, and they're like, oh, since we've changed things, we should probably address this. And they didn't address it in a good way.
Yeah.
It was, the last episode.
It felt like a way for them to be like, we may continue this story, away from what we've done, already written and stuff. It's like, okay, so that's fine. Maybe you want to continue and write your own story that follows after this. But
it was,
they ended up saying that a bunch of rules that were keeping these 2 kids apart are now suddenly things that exist.
Which they never brought up before.
Because, okay, so his dad has been living in Lyra's world for like 15 years, and it's apparently fine. Because he's got a demon now, and everything's cool. But he's not from his world. But at the end of the show, they said they have to go back to their own worlds because their demons will not them and their demons would not last long in others' worlds.
I think the implication was if they close the portals.
Yeah,
but again,
maybe.
You can't pull out willy-nilly some magic system to solve your problem.
Or cause a problem.
This is something that, again, Brandon brings up in his writing. It is bad writing. You can't make something up at the end to solve your problem. It has to be obvious to your reader, oh, this is what it was. This is how we solve it. Because if you're just making something up, well, then it could have been anything.
Because really, I feel like the answer should have been, if they want to be together, they have to stay in a world completely separate from their own.
Or choose one.
Yeah, or choose one. And then, break the knife so that the angels can seal the doors. I think it would have made more sense that they couldn't stay in each other's worlds. It had to be totally separate.
Because there's even a great line.
Sacrifice without consequence means nothing, or something like that.
So, in my opinion, someone or both had to sacrifice. But the sacrifice that they had was stupid, which was they both sacrificed each other. But then the whole teenage angst thinks, I'll forever love you. I'll never love again.
And even if we love somebody else, we'll still come back here every year to remember our lives.
I know. And then they brought up the obvious, but if I do love someone else, it's okay. I'll still secretly love you in my heart. What a dumb. I hate that.
The kids brought up a good point. They're like, you've asked us to do all of this, and it is not fair
that you ask us.
That you're asking this of us now. Anyway, so we have a couple of comments as well. Ari says, I love cute children interruptions, makes everything relatable.
Yes, always.
Travis says, I thought we all agreed the Wheel of Time show never happened.
It happened. I'm just hoping they learned from their mistakes.
And votes are in for card display next.
Okay. But as she's pulling out the card display, if you guys had any good TV shows that we didn't mention, or maybe we just forgot that we saw this year, put them down in the comments below, and we'll read some of those off, because this year was pretty crazy for entertainment. We saw a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's stuff that we missed. There's just not time to watch it all, which is one of my explanations for why we don't. People are like, why didn't you watch this? There is so much to watch and choose from.
There's other things I'd rather watch.
There's other stuff. Yeah, I'd rather spend my time on this, or, because we're both very busy. You working on like displays and stuff. It's like, I got stuff to do. And and I have one or many jobs. So so just let us know what you guys have been watching. What have you guys been enjoying this year? And Carly,
we're going to get to that book comment next, or that book question next.
Oh yes, I'm glad you remembered, because I honestly forgot.
So I'm not going to pull the whole thing out because it's already in here wrapped.
Yeah,
but
she wrapped it up, but here's
we've got
the display.
The display, or the display set for cards, which holds up to 20 cards. You can also see those on my website. This is the last set that will ever be engraved. All future card display sets will not have the engraving on the borders anymore. So this is the last card display set, and the winner was Order 1015, which was actually Mark. The Sanderson
Congratulations,
collector.
Mark. Oh, good for you.
Yay, Mark. So I will be contacting you on Instagram, or probably Discord, because we tend to talk there more. So I'll contact you on Discord because I know who you are, and I'll make sure we have all the correct information for shipping that to you. Hooray!
Well, I hope you enjoy, Mark. I don't know if you're here or not, but
I don't think he is here.
and that's okay.
And that's fine too.
Being here was not a requirement, so because again, these are just thank yous for everybody supporting us.
Yep.
Really not us; it's more her. This is everything that she's done. I've got my own challenges that I'm working on.
And so, guys, decide what the next one should be. If we should announce who wins the coins or the leather bounds.
And we will do those next. All right. So the book question.
Yes.
Read that to me again. I think it was Era 1 versus Era 2.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on Era 2 versus Era 1 or something like that? Let's see. I'm trying to find the question to make sure I...
While she's looking for the question, after we do this, maybe we'll get into some of the things that we plan for next year.
Oh, yes.
Or at least some of the things that I'm excited for next year.
What are your thoughts on Mistborn Era 2 versus Era 1?
Okay, so this is the reason I wanted to put this off a little bit was it's kind of a complicated question. Because Era 2 has spanned quite a long time. This was a big year for Brandon too. He ended a lot of things. He ended Era 2 on Mistborn. He's ending.
Yeah, so we have the end of Era 2, which is really 1.5. We've got Defiant coming next year, which is the end of the main Skyward story, so Spence's story. We've got what I'm calling the end of Stormlight Era 1, because it's really books 1 through 5 are set, and then books 6 through 10. So we've got Stormlight 5 coming in 2 years. He's wrapping up a lot of things kind of at the same time.
But one of the reasons it's complicated is because this has spanned on for so long. Because I can remember when I finally decided to dive head into Brandon, I read Era 1, and then
Ooh, let there be light.
Yes. And then I went straight into the first 2 Era 2 novels. Because I think I read Mistborn, and then I went on to some other stuff and decided I liked it enough. I went back to Mistborn, and then I read that trilogy. Anyway, I had
Era 2 was hard for me to get into, which you remember.
Yes, I was the complete opposite. Because I was like, what a creative way to use the magic system that I have now known, but then take it into a more modern era. I loved it. That was truly where I fell in love with Brandon. I was like, this is creative. This is building on what you have.
Yeah. But the struggle for me was losing the characters I'd become attached to.
Yes, you get very attached to characters. I don't. And like you hated.
I agree. Well, yeah, Wayne drove me nuts to begin with. But now I've come to understand who he is. So when I did my reread, so I'd read books 1 and 2 of Era 2, and by the time the third one was coming out, I had done a reread, and I was like, you know what? I can actually really appreciate this. I really appreciate Wayne as a character. I appreciate what Jason has been saying about the growth of the magic system into a more modern era. And so it finally became kind of like I was like, okay, I actually understand this now. But my first read, I was like, I don't like this.
So, Era 1 versus Era 2.
So, yeah.
If we're just talking about Mistborn, how would I compare them?
Well, Era 2 has Steris, so she's fantastic.
Oh, yes. It's like, and?
I love her. She's glorious. I love her.
I love most of Brandon's characters. I will say Era 1 feels more fantasy.
Yeah.
This feels a little more steampunky.
Yes.
And Era 1 also feels a little more thought out. Because he obviously had that entire trilogy planned out. A lot more thought was, I think, put into how the magic works and what magics would be used in what specific instances. And it hadn't become as convoluted as it is now in Era 2.
Well, and it's self-contained. Those three books are self-contained.
And it's self-contained, so you don't need anything to jump in. So if I had to put them up against one another, which I think is an unfair comparison.
A bit.
I would say I enjoy Era 1 over Era 2.
Agreed.
I think Era 1 just has more enjoyable characters. Maybe not as well written characters, but more enjoyable.
I think the arc of just the entire story itself.
The arc of the story is very interesting. Book after book, I was constantly surprised. I will say I wasn't
saying Era 1 was better overall plot. Era 2 was better character work.
I agree.
Iritori? I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry.
But I agree. I think Era 2 is better character work. Brandon's obviously grown up as
Congratulations. Someone probably told him that he won.
So now he's popping in.
Yeah. You're
hi,
welcome.
Mark. You're welcome. But yeah, so I think better character work in Era 2, but better plot and story in Era 1. But also, overall, just great series. I really enjoyed it.
Era 2 isn't as self-contained either. It ends with a lot of questions. One of my main questions, and I've brought this up a couple of times, is what's in the box that only somebody who could push and pull can open? I want to know what was in the safe.
Oh, yeah.
What's in the box?
It's going to be a while.
It's going to be a string.
Or if we even find out at all.
Oh, okay. Alex is fine. Okay. I will try to remember Alex then. Okay. Oh, he said I had no less than 4 people tag him to come in.
Only 4?
Only 4? I mean, come on, guys. There's at least 13 of you here right now. I'm just kidding.
I did think of, not to derail the conversation, one show I actually got you to watch this year. I finally got Carly to watch Firefly.
Oh, yes.
We finished the show last night.
Yes.
I plan on having her watch the movie later.
I think I was finally in a headspace where I was okay with watching, because I'd gotten used to, like, Star Trek, right? I'd gotten used to, like, watching things like Star Trek that are kind of older in what they are. And so Firefly kind of fits into that.
I'm slowly converting her to all my fantasy projects.
Again, closet nerd for most of my life.
I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, Era 1, Era 2, love them both for different reasons, which I actually think makes them more special. Because if I like them...
Shiny in the chat now.
Shiny.
Shiny.
Yes.
There's a lot of really funny lines I've now been quoting. Like, I'm now like, I get that reference.
It's a hilarious show. Yeah. So I love them for different reasons, which I think makes them more special. Because if I loved them for the same reason, it would probably feel just more of a repeat.
Yeah.
How many more giveaways you got?
2. Coins is next, according to the votes.
Okay. Do we want to do another one of those, or do you want to get into...
Yeah, so let's do that.
Let's do that.
So I have...
We are droning on a little bit.
I do have a set of coins. I just don't have them in hand right now. They're downstairs. But there's a set of coins we have to give away, and the winner for that was number 2071, Lost in the Cosmere. Yeah. So congratulations. I don't think I quite remember what... I should have written down everybody's like actual name and stuff. There's some people that I know, so like Sanderson Collector I know. So order 2071. That was Hannah. Congratulations, Hannah. You win a set of coins. She'll
be reaching out to everybody on
So I'll be reaching out to you on Instagram. Mark, I will be reaching out to you on Discord. And Becca, I will be reaching out to you probably on Discord too, as well instead of Instagram, just because we already have a thread going there. And then we'll announce the leather bound winner in a short bit, which I do have up there. Yeah. All
right, so now I thought we'd talk a little bit about next year.
Hero of Canton, the band they call Jane.
That's right. And the man they call Jane. Oh, man. So good.
Jane's a girl name. Well, Jane's not a girl.
Yeah. Shut up. That hat makes you look stupid.
Work.
Work.
Anyway.
Yes. So, is this one of the giveaways? This is... We can give it away.
I mean, we can give it away. Anybody in the chat, if you use VR...
Are you interested in a giveaway? Let us know.
Are you interested in a giveaway?
Don't tell them what it is yet.
A giveaway for a VR game code, not a VR set.
We're not going to use it. So
yeah, we're not going to use it. It's a game that I don't want to play. So if you have VR or know somebody who has VR and would like a free game, just type in the chat that you want to be entered.
Check in the description if it has to be a specific VR headset.
It is for the purchase of game in the MetaQuest store.
So it has to be a MetaQuest headset.
Yes, so it has to be a MetaQuest headset. Yes.
We can give that away.
Sure.
Do we want to give that away?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I want to make sure we have everything figured out and set up. And,
okay,
and
so we might do another small giveaway, but probably more in your chat.
I have some hoodies and things to give away too. We're not going to do that today. Why don't we wait and do like the gaming stuff another...
Okay.
In fact, actually, let's save this because this is good until the end of the year.
But we'll it's good to let people know. They can get the word out there.
There will be a more gaming-centered giveaway eventually.
Because this one is mostly meant to thank those who have supported you through creating the coin display.
So we'll be giving away a MetaQuest game code, some gaming gear things, and then a couple of Togepi hoodies.
All right.
In a bit.
Well, not today, but...
Not today.
Someday soon.
Yes, eventually. I will let you all know. Anyway, let's get to... No.
And children interruptions makes it more relatable.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the things I think we're excited for next year. We've got some family plans that we're excited for, but we're hopefully going to capture some of that to share with all you guys.
We took a video of when we redid the girls' room.
That was fun.
That was tons of fun. And there's some Beat Saber fun for you guys to watch there,
but
too.
But I won't say them out loud since apparently our children are outside our door like zombies.
At the door.
I'm excited for Bad Batch Season 2. That's Star Wars.
Yep.
Hopefully Carly doesn't go missing. When Hogwarts Legacy comes out, she will be...
The only two updates you'll be getting me for about 3 solid months is how many displays I finished and what I did in Hogwarts.
Yes, as your reward for finishing displays.
Yes.
I also got you, sort of, it's not finished yet, but I'm sure she'll show it off. You're going to get a Hogwarts Legacy themed cloak.
Yes, we have commissioned a creator on Etsy who specializes in large format embroidery, who is making me the Slytherin Hogwarts fanatic robe.
Hopefully it turns out good, or otherwise, we're going to be upset.
Kind of sad.
But that's something I know you're excited for the game.
I'm so excited.
I'm not even a huge Potterhead, and I can tell how awesome it looks.
It's going to be so good.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yes. Knock on wood.
Any Marvel stuff that's coming out this year. So, Ant-Man looks good. Let's see, what else is coming out this year? Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks good.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which isn't exactly Marvel, but it looks great.
Yep.
X-Men 97, because, cartoons, and I grew up with the X-Men.
Indeed.
Ironheart, Agatha. So that's some media projects we're excited for. Ooh, Mandalorian Season 3, that comes out this year.
Yep.
We'll probably discuss Shadow and Bone Season 2. We enjoyed the first season. It was good.
Yes. That's a series we also haven't read.
I haven't read the books, but, fantasy series.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Secret Invasion is a Marvel thing. That looks good. Here's another video game, Jedi Survivor. I will definitely be playing that.
Yes, for sure.
Here's something completely unrelated, and I don't know if any of you even care about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Creed 3. It's a movie. I enjoyed the first Creed 2. I know you haven't seen the movies, but I have.
I like the actor a lot.
And I'm excited for the third one.
Michael B. Jordan, right?
Michael B. Jordan as Creed.
He's fantastic.
And you have whoever the other guy is. I don't know what they're calling him. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know what their names are yet. Let's see. Here's another getting back on fantasy topics. D&D looks hilarious.
Oh my gosh,
I
yes.
am excited for Dungeons and Dragons with Chris Pine. It looks great.
As playing the lute.
Yes.
Plays the lute. And funny for that too, I've actually been playing some D&D. First time ever. So I've had 2 whole sessions now.
See,
which is kind of
I
fun.
did all sorts of D&D when I grew up.
And again, closet nerd.
I know.
Wasn't allowed to be a nerd. But yes.
Let's see. When I will be MIA is when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out.
We both will be.
I'm very excited for that. Well, you should actually be done with all your projects by then.
Yes.
Ish.
But I will just be MIA from everything else.
Yeah, we're very excited for that.
Yeah. Jacob's saying, as an avid D&D player, he's hesitant but optimistic.
Oh, well, I very much classify this into the I'm glad we're getting it, but I don't expect it to necessarily be in a good phase.
Yeah.
It looks funny. Whether it's representative of D&D, probably not, but
looks like it's just going to be a ball of fun, though.
I'll take anything that has dragons or is a fantasy. I don't care. It looks fun.
You got like a shapeshifter, and you got Chris Pine playing the lute. I mean,
Chris Pine playing the lute. Probably going to be my favorite movie of the year, the Super Mario movie.
Oh, yes.
I could not be more excited. I have watched that trailer so many times. Our kids are going nuts over it. I just about cried when I saw that trailer. It looks so good.
It looks so good.
And yes, I know Chris Pratt is getting a lot of flack for his voice. I don't care. It looks good.
I mean, if you think about it too, even Bowser's isn't deep enough in my opinion. But whatever, who cares?
Nothing's ever perfect. I rarely expect it to be perfect. I try to give things a lot of leeway. But man, am I excited for this. Mm-hmm. I could not be more excited for this. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to be my favorite movie of the year. And there are a lot of good movies coming out this year. Another video game I'm keeping my eye on, might not play, haven't played one in this series in a long time, is Final Fantasy 16. This looks like it's kind of going back to its roots. It's
actually.
fantasy. It's right there in the name.
It's got a giant phoenix.
Yeah, I love Final Fantasy. I played a lot of the originals up till about 10. Final Fantasy X is about where I fell off. I've dabbled in some of the other ones, but it just hasn't held the same nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
But this one looks really good. The story looks like it's going to be interesting. I'm going to check that out, probably. A movie I think should not be getting made, but I'm keeping an eye on anyway because, heartstrings and nostalgia. Mm-hmm. But I'll explain why I don't think it should be made because I think, go ahead and try anything, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Indiana Jones. He is too old. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not interesting as a 90-something-year-old man on an adventure. He's don't care.
Old and crotchety and angry and everything.
Well, he's always been kind of crotchety. That's Indiana Jones.
Sure.
But I don't mind it as a young or even middle-aged or even older person.
This could be a bit of a passing torch kind of movie.
It's not going to be. They kind of sort of tried that with the last one, the Crystal Skull, and it was terrible. It was for a lot of reasons. But I'm sorry, the ship has sailed. I love Harrison Ford. Mm-hmm. You can't be Indiana Jones. You're just too old. That's like saying Morgan Freeman needs to play Batman. I love Morgan Freeman. You're too old. I'm sorry.
I could tell you I killed your family slowly with a butter knife, and my voice would still calm you down.
That's right.
You would not be an intimidating Batman.
I'm sorry. I love him, and it's just your right place, right time, right age, all that sort of thing. This is not it.
But the other thing, too, is for somebody like Indiana Jones, I do not believe an 80, 90-year-old man could do the things that Indiana Jones is supposed to be able to do. It loses that believability. That's the ask.
Yes.
Right?
They have too many asks. Mm-hmm. A movie only gets so many asks. I've heard one, I've heard two, whatever. It only gets so many asks before you're like, I just don't get it. I don't buy this as a movie anymore. Yeah. The plot doesn't make any sense. The writing doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I'm stoked for Mission Impossible.
Yes. I love Mission Impossible.
They're always crazy. I can't believe he does his own stunts. Looks amazing. Oppenheimer looks like an amazing movie. Story of creating the atomic bomb. Yep. Got a lot of great actors in it. That's probably going to be my like Oscar movie that I like watch.
Sure.
The Marvels, which is a Marvel movie, looks fun. A Quiet Place spinoff is supposed to come out. I like The Quiet Place.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so for us,
whether it actually happens or not, it
we're
might,
not
it might
like
not. But
horror or whatever kind of movies.
thriller fans, horror not so much.
Yeah, but this was like the right kind of thriller. Like
Yeah.
Quiet Place was.
We love A Quiet Place.
Loved
Yeah.
A Quiet Place. It was like, this is so clever. Plus, I mean, Krasinski and his wife, like.
They're like our favorites.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah. And John Krasinski, because I know you're watching, we should be best friends. I'm just saying. You know.
Yes, because you're watching.
Well, they've got kids. We've got kids. They can hang out. We'll hang out with them.
Yeah, I mean, we got similar interests and stuff.
I don't know.
He's got black hair. You've got darkish hair.
Sure. I love his wife. You love him. You know, let's.
There we go.
I'm just saying it would be a great
It would
duo.
work. It'd be a great friendship.
It'd be a great duo. Your probably favorite movie of the year that's coming out next year is Dune 2.
Oh, yes.
The first Dune was amazing.
The first Dune is as close to
That's
a perfect
perfect.
10 as I can possibly give.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot give 10s. I just don't think anything's actually a 10. But
That's about as close as it
that's
gets.
about as close to a 10 as it gets. It's like a 9.9 repeating.
It was good.
It was
good.
Like, I'm sitting there and Jason's like, I'm like giggling about stuff. And
She
he's
kept
like,
smacking
"Stop
me
it."
the whole movie. I'm
I
like,
know, like that.
stop! I'm trying to watch.
Because I had just read the book.
Yeah.
And so, like, I actually...
And I read it, but I read it when I was a teenager. I didn't reread it to watch the movie.
But they hit every... So I'm so excited for number 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to reread the book again.
I'm hoping Brandon pairs up with, however you say his name, Denis Villeneuve or something like that.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis, I don't know.
Villeneuve.
However you say
Ari
his
says
name.
we would all have a swing in time, by the way, with the Krasinskis.
We would have a swing in time with the
Heck
Krasinski.
yes, it'd be so much fun.
Yeah, well,
After the fangirling's done.
sure.
From both of us.
Yeah, oh, we love them both.
They're great. They're from what I can see from them, like they seem like average people who just are also really good actors.
Yeah, but I love them for different reasons.
Sure.
And then not as exciting, but I'm still interested. Is I'm looking forward to the Wonka movie. I love
There's gonna be another Wonka movie.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the one with
Really?
Gene Wilder. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
I didn't know they were doing another one.
They're doing another one. This one is with the kid from Dune. What's his name? Chat, help me out if I can look it up, but I don't want to. But I'm looking forward to that one. And then to cap off,
He's also got a funny name,
Timothy Chalamet. Yep.
Timothy.
To cap off the DC universe, because it needs to be capped off hard, is Aquaman 2.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the first Aquaman. I understand they're rebooting the
I like
whole
Momoa.
universe. Hurts my heart that,
To lose Cavill.
could
as
leave
Superman.
Cavill.
I know, because he's great.
but I like everything else that James Gunn has been saying, even though I'm not necessarily a James Gunn fan.
Netflix is potentially doing a Narnia series as well.
Ooh, I'm down for that.
Yeah. I love the Narnia books.
Yeah, again, fantasy. I am on board.
Give me all of it.
We are as big as fantasy fans as you can be. Fantasy, sci-fi, all of that.
Yes.
So here's some TBD, because they don't actually have release dates yet that I could find, but things we're pretty excited for. Everwild, which is a video game if it ever comes out.
Yes.
You're a Pikmin fan. Pikmin
I
4
like Pikmin
is supposedly
a lot.
going to come out.
Yes.
Elder Scrolls 6, whenever that comes out for you. I'm not an Elder Scrolls fan, but she is.
We'll see how that goes.
Star Wars Eclipse, which is a video game. I'm excited for that.
That trailer was intense.
And KOTOR, which is Knights of the Old Republic remake. They're just kind of reskinning everything, bringing it up to date in Unreal Engine 5. Looks interesting. I grew up with this game. I even did the old Knights of the Old Republic role-playing game along with D&D and Galactic Empires. We did all sorts of role-playing games when I was a kid. Ahsoka looks good. Netflix has got I don't know if it's a show or a movie that's coming out. It's called My Dad, the Bounty Hunter.
My Dad, the Bounty Hunter.
And these kids go into space. following their dad. Thought he was going to work. Star Wars: A Skeleton Crew looks good.
Yeah.
And we have 2 other adventures. One hopefully in October, and one in June, maybe one in July. We'll see about the July one. That we plan on doing some family adventures. Hopefully we'll share some stuff with you guys about that later. And then last but not least, probably foremost, actually we probably should have talked about this a long time ago, is we have some projects planned for next year. Whether they come out next year or not, I don't know.
Yep.
We're going to keep some of those close to the chest.
Because there's an echo on my side. And that is highly possible because we also don't have a whole lot blocking us.
Oh, am I talking too loud again? But we have some projects planned next year. We're going to keep some of them close to the chest. But
is that better, guys? I unplugged it and plugged it back in, so that's better.
The classic tech fix.
I mean, it works.
But we're planning on coming out with some stuff, so hopefully you'll follow Carly and she can keep you up to date on what some of that stuff is. I'm helping out as much as I can, but really this is mostly her. Nothing exciting, nothing that we can necessarily talk about that's exciting. Nothing Brandon related, even though
I'm going to be unboxing every year of Sanderson box.
Oh yeah,
so
that's true.
Y'all can come hang out with that. Okay, yeah. So I'm plugging back in, fixed it.
There you go.
Hooray!
But we'll see what the year has to hold. Last year was very busy. We expect this year to be busy again, but we're just kind of hoping that you guys will join us along, or join along with us.
Yep.
Good way of doing that to help support us is checking out our Patreon. And thanks again to, who was it again?
Matthew Garcia.
Matthew Garcia. We plan to hopefully update and add some more benefit to our Patreon here shortly.
Yes, right now our Patreon is 1 tier. It is $3 of just tips.
Yep.
If you just want to
just
tip
as
us,
a thank you.
let us,
If you like what we're doing and want to see more of what's coming out, and we do have a lot planned to share with you guys this year.
We also appreciate any likes and subscriptions to our channel just in general. So
and then
if you don't want to monetarily support, that's totally fine. Just drop a like.
And we like to give back too, which is why Carly's doing a thank you today with these giveaways, and a more gamer focused thank you in the coming weeks. I'm excited for the stuff that we have planned this year, both on your side and on my side.
Yes.
I hope your fans can get excited about it. Let's be honest, they're your fans.
They just like me for my woodwork.
They just like you for your body. And I'm your fan too.
Aww.
But should we give away our final prize?
We should, because we're coming up on we're over an hour and a half, so I just want to make sure we're getting that all done. Okay.
Thank you all for sticking with us. I appreciate it.
Yes. So the final giveaway is for a set of signed leather bounds for Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self.
Why don't you grab those? Yep.
I have them in here. I opened them only to make sure that quality was fine and that they were indeed signed. So I don't want you guys to worry that I was using them or anything. I was just double checking the quality. I have them wrapped up in this paper. Should I open it up just so they can see? I did post pictures already.
I mean, if you posted pictures.
Yeah. So I wrapped them up in this packing paper just to make sure they stayed safe.
I did comment. I was like, "Are you sure you want to open it up?" She's like, "I want to make sure it's signed because I'd hate to send you guys something that's not signed
or damaged or something.
Because you won't be able to get another one of these."
Yes, because I wouldn't be able to, help you exchange it.
We wanted to double check just because.
Plus, both boxes on the outside said signed numbered, and so I wanted to make sure I kept my books.
Yeah. Well, we also wanted to make sure.
There was a lot of reasons.
We pride ourselves in both our quality and integrity.
Yes.
Quality of the products that you provide and the integrity of the service that you provide. Mm-hmm. So we'd hate to send you something that wasn't actually what it was.
Yes. So I have them here. And the winner was number... Let me make sure I have that number right because I keep typing in things wrong apparently. 1587, which was Jacob Young.
Congratulations, Jacob.
Good job, Jacob. Which actually, sounds familiar.
What is he in the chat?
Oh, he's in the chat.
Oh,
hi, Jacob.
well, thank you for following along.
Yay!
I feel good about this. Most of the supporters who came to support us are the ones who won.
Yes. So, yay.
Which was the whole point. These are thank yous for people who have supported you through your project.
Yes.
She works very hard on this. I know you guys don't see it, but she works very hard, tirelessly every day.
8 to 10 hours to make.
Each one takes about 8 to 10 hours. And all the other stuff you don't see behind the scenes. Like we have been very busy. Very busy.
Plus raising 2 kids.
Yeah, so she makes sure that she gets this done. She tries her best to send out the highest quality products she can. She takes a hit on the profits. But you guys have overwhelmingly helped support her. And this has been, it's been kind of a dream come true. You got to do a project for Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon flippin' Sanderson.
Yeah. And you guys helped support that. And so as a thank you, we are giving back. Congratulations to all of our winners again.
I'll read them off one more time just so we can make sure. So it is number 1675. That was Mental Batgirl, which I know is Becca. And then there was 1587. So Becca won the swirlies, the bookends. Jacob, you won the leather bounds. You were 1587. Mark, you were 1015. You won the card display. And Lost in the Cosmere, which I believe her name is Hannah. Order 2071, won the coins. So again, I will be reaching out to all of you. Jacob, I don't know if I know who you are on Discord, so I'll reach out to you on Instagram. Becca, Mark, I'll reach out to you on Discord. And Hannah, I will reach out to you on Instagram as well. Got somebody coming in saying, dang, I got the time zone wrong, so I missed the whole stream.
Oh, that's okay, but thank you for stopping by.
Ari wanted to know how many people entered. There was approximately, everybody who followed all the steps, there was about 185, 190 people maybe, because there were some people who liked it just to like the post, but didn't buy one or didn't enter. Yes, Mark, you did have the lowest order number from all those that were drawn. Devin's saying it's because she's kind of super cool. Thanks. And yeah, so congrats to everybody. Thank you again so much. This has been obviously a huge game changer for me as a small business owner, but also just as a person, as a fan. This has helped us as a couple in loads of different ways. I mean, we're able to...
Well, and we like giving back.
Yes.
As you guys support her, it's easier for us to help give back.
I've done a couple of cash giveaways on like Twitter or Stimulus. I've been able to do this giveaway just as a way of saying thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully as you guys continue to support her, we can keep doing these. It'd be nice to do this like once a year. We just kind of give stuff away.
Yeah.
But we'll see what this year has to hold. I know it'll be a big year for us.
We'll do the gaming type stuff giveays. So we'll have the Togepi hoodies
that's coming. But that's not what I mean. I mean maybe like after the new year, like bigger stuff. Giveaways sort of thing. Yeah.
Cool things.
Well,
in fact, we'll start calling it that.
We'll just cool things giveaway. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, Ari saying pretty wild odds that almost all the winners were here. Actually, yeah, that is pretty wild.
It makes me happy because it is meant for those who truly support you. So
yes, yes,
not those just hoping to get free stuff, but it does at least make me feel good. I appreciate
every single order, and I hope you all have been enjoying your displays. Again, please drop a like and subscribe to our channel because we're supposed to say that in the video and stuff.
It helps with the algorithm, but also, we hope to be putting more stuff out this year.
Yes.
Both stuff for you guys to consume, but also stuff for you to help support us. So
we just, want to share with you guys. So
and you've got some great ideas, and you should be very excited for the things that she has planned. There's some cool stuff coming.
Yes.
All
right.
I don't know how else to
drum
it up without giving it all away.
Guess we're gonna close off then, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bye.